Hey guys, this is Mr. Montamat. Today we're going to be color coding our periodic tables to show the different groups on the periodic table. So, as you can see, this is my workstation. This is where it's all happening. So when you're sending me emails or messaging me, then I'm sitting at my dining room table and working there. And there's Gus. Yeah, he's helping a lot. Okay, so first of all, you will need a periodic table. Now, if you have the one that I gave you, that would be great. If not, I hope you printed one off. Okay, so you will need a periodic table that looks like this. It's blank and you can color it. Okay, so I sent out a PDF file called Ref Map Chemistry. This is page 4. You only need page 4. The other thing I sent out was the common polyatomic ions. That's the stuff on the back here. You're going to need that for later on. So make sure you've printed that off as well. If you have any trouble printing off a periodic table, please email me, contact me. I will make sure you get a periodic table. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to use this. This is in the back of the chemistry book. We're going to use this as our guide. I'm also going to post some pictures of this, or you want to do a screenshot of this. Now, you don't have to use the exact same colors as this, but all the elements in group 1, they need to be the same color as each other. Okay? You need to provide a key. You see the key right there. Okay? So we need to know which color the alkali metals are, which color the alkaline earth metals are, and so on and so forth. Notice that hydrogen has kind of its own color. That's because hydrogen is kind of its own little element. It has some similarities to some group 1 elements, but it does some stuff that's different too. So it's kind of in its own little group. All right, we ready to get started? Okay, so you need to select 8 different colors. All right, and a nice pen or pencil. All right, so the first thing what we want to do is we want to make this. We want to make the key. All right, so I'm going to bring this over here. This being my ring stand, which is my holder. All right, yep, that's not very stable. Hold on a second. Working this out here. All right, there we go. So I've got that right there. And there's my periodic table. What I would do is I would make the little blanks just like you have right here. Right here. Make a little blank square so you can color in the square as you do those elements, okay? So we're going to do the metals. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of metals. Alkali metals, alkaline earth, transition, and other metals, okay? So on your periodic table right here, just make yourself a little square like that and put alkali metals. That's group 1. Then make another little box that you can color in later and put alkaline earth metals. Now, when I was in high school studying chemistry, I always got those 2 groups mixed up. Which one's alkali, which one's alkali earth? I use this little mnemonic or little device here. Alkali is 1 word. Group 1. Alkaline earth, oops, forgot my H right there, is 2 words. Group 2. Maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't. All right, so alkaline earth, then our transition metals, and of course, other metals. These are the metals under the stairs, as I call them, because they're under the zigzag line there. All right. Then we want to do metalloids. Remember, oids means like or resembles. So these are like metals. The metalloids are the elements that are sometimes they're like metals, and Well, sometimes they're like nonmetals. All right. Then we're going to do our nonmetals. If you want to, you can put metals here. The metalloids are also called semiconductors because sometimes they conduct electricity and sometimes they don't. And of course, we have our nonmetals. And you can move this around anywhere you want where you can find room. Some people can't write as small as I can. Some people can write much smaller than I can. So halogens, that's group 17. Fluorine and chlorine and bromine and iodine. Those are your halogens. And of course, your other nonmetals. And of course, your noble gases. Now, one thing I prefer to do is I prefer to use map pencils or colored pencils. If you are using map pencils or colored pencils, it is very important. Are you listening? Very important that you do not color darkly. Okay? You want to be able to read the name of the element. You also want to be able to see its atomic weight as well. Okay? So first, we're going to do hydrogen is yellow. I guess it's not on the key, but and so what you do is you kind of just color this in. Now, hydrogen doesn't have to be yellow. It can be any color you want it to be, but it's going to be a separate color than anything else. All right. Now I'm choosing a color for the alkali metals. I chose this one because it looked a lot like the one in the book. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to color my little square here for alkali metals. And then I'm going to come over here. Now, a good thing to do when you're doing a group of them is to kind of do your outline so you know exactly how far you're going to go before you start coloring them all in. That'll prevent you from making any horrible mistakes. All right. And so I want to lightly color those in. And there, I've got my alkali metals done. Remember, color lightly so you could still read the names and see their atomic weights and their atomic numbers. That way you can tell me how many protons and how many neutrons are in the nucleus. Right? I thought you would. All right. So now I'm going to do, let's see, I need a dark blue. Kind of looks like a dark blue to me. Now I'm going to do my alkaline earth. I'm going to use this blue right here. And that's going to be from here down to there, group 2. Remember, color lightly. Also, make sure you're providing a key. We're not just coloring things, but we're color coding things. I know that these, because they're this color, they are the alkaline earth metals. By the way, groups 1 and 2, they're also known as the active metals. What you're going to find on the next PowerPoint is that when we look at interpreting the periodic table, is that reactivity increases on this end of the periodic table for metals. So these are very, very reactive metals. Okay? My suggestion for you is to do the transition metals last so that they're all the ones that are left. What I would recommend that you do next, and this is the part where everybody messes up on, well, not everybody, but a lot of people mess up on. This is where we do the semiconductors or metalloids, okay? So you see it's certain ones that you have to do, okay? So what you do is put a little dot of color in each one of those before you color them in, just to make sure you're doing the right ones, okay? So you're gonna do boron, put a little dot there, then silicon, then go down to germanium, then over to arsenic, then down to antimony. By the way, its symbol is SB because its Latin name was stibnum. Yeah, that's why antimony is SB. And of course, tellurium, okay? So those are gonna be our metalloids. So now I've got color, 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 okay? So now I'm gonna lightly color these in, and I'm gonna put my color code over my key. Y'all see that? And I'm gonna lightly color these in, making sure I'm doing the right ones before I color them totally in and finish them off. There you go. I hope yours is looking as awesome as mine. Remember, color lightly so you can read the names and see the numbers. There we go. We've got our metalloids or semiconductors down there. All right, so next I'm going to go back and I'm going to do other metals. Let's see, I need a light blue. I'm going to go with this one right here. I'm going to do my other metals. Oh my gosh, that needs to be sharpened. Oh, well, I can make this work. Okay, so the other metals is going to go from aluminum all the way down to here. By the way, if you want to add the elements that go in here, you are welcome to do that. You'd have to look up online to see what their names are. But you can add them because we have elements. This is our other metals. We have elements all the way up to 118 now. They have been discovered. Of course, they're all artificial elements. Go from there. SN, stenum, or tin. Plumbum, lead. Actually, this turned out to look like more of a gray than a blue. Oh well. At least they're all the right color there. A little my orange bled through there onto my gallium. That's okay. You can still see that this is part of that. Gallium is one of those other metals. And we go all the way over to polonium. All right. So now let's start working on our non-metals. I'm going to do the noble gases. I picked this kind of purplish color. And that's going to be my noble gases. The noble gases, that would be your group 18 or 8A. These are the gases that have full outer shells or valence electrons. They have full outer shells and valence electrons. So all of them have 8 electrons in their outer shell, except for helium, which only has 2, because it's in the first period, and that's all the first period can hold. Remember, color lightly. Y'all might notice I've said that like several times now. That's because I mean that. Alrighty then, there are my noble gases. Also, while you have this color in your hand, make sure you're coloring your key over here. Alright, now let's do the halogens. For some reason they felt the halogens should be brown. So we're going to make them brown. This is group 17. Now the halogens, since they're right next to the noble gases, these are going to be the most reactive nonmetals. Okay? So notice that the nonmetals way over on this side, they are the most reactive, and the metals way over here are the most reactive metals. The closer you are to the noble gas, the more you are. Now you say, okay, sodium's way over here, noble gas is way over there. But notice that sodium is number 11 and neon is number 10. That's only 1 proton away. In fact, you can take your periodic table and wrap it around like a cylinder and it goes like in a spiral actually. And so these are 1 electron away from a noble gas, so they're very reactive. All right, now we're going to do our other nonmetals. Okay, and so that starts with carbon over here, and phosphorus and selenium, down to selenium and up to oxygen. Now, all of these groups over here, they actually have names. You know that group 17 is called the halogens, and group 1 is the alkali metals, and group 2 is the alkaline earth metals. Well, these have names too. Let me finish coloring here. Oh, what did I forget to do? I forgot to do this. Make sure you color in your key. This groups are the vertical columns, periods go across. And so this right here, group 16 or 6A, it's called the oxygen group. How inventive was that? Sometimes if you meet like a really, really old chemist like Mr. Harrell, y'all know who Mr. Harrell is, right? Okay. If you don't, maybe when we get back to school, I'll show you. He's over there in the Utah hallway, and I call him Father Chemistry. He answers all my questions about chemistry if I have questions. But anyway, this is also known as the chalcogens. So the halogens and the chalcogens. Group 15, 5A, is called the nitrogen group. Some people call it the pnictogens. And group 14, 4A, is the carbon group. This is the boron group. The carbon group, I'm trying to think of the old school name for the carbon group. It had a name for it. Let's see, chalcogens. I think these were called the, yeah, amides? I don't know. Anyway, you don't have to know that. Just know this is the oxygen group, nitrogen group, carbon group, boron group. Okay? All right, so the only thing we have left to do is our transition metals. And, of course, that's going to be all of these. If you'll notice that most of your elements are metals. There are more metals than nonmetals. Lots of metals. Okay? By the way, if you were adding this row down here, that would be a transition metal below mercury. We'll do this. If you wanted to, use a piece of paper as a straight edge. I'm going to draw this one first. I'm going to come down. From there to there. By the way, you just don't have to do this if you don't want to, but some people want to have their periodic table all nice and complete. There you go. And all you do is draw your lines here. I know that this one, number 118, is called oganesson. I actually did my first atomic t-shirt of element 118, and it didn't have a name at the time because it hadn't been discovered yet. But it's been discovered now. There we go. So that would be transition metal, and this would all be under other metals. And the thing about these elements down here is they really don't know exactly what they're like. A lot of times when they're created, they only exist for like a few seconds and then they decay into something else. But however, since we have something called periodicity, we believe that elements that are in the same column, the same group, have similar properties. It's something we've observed. So we can predict the properties that these would have. So now I'm going to go finish coloring in all my transition metals. By the way, these down here at the bottom, the lanthanide and actinide series, the reason why they're down here at the bottom, seriously, is so the periodic table will fit on a piece of paper, because actually they would fit in here, and you like split this up, and then there'd be 2 rows, and then it'd be very long. I actually have one in my classroom, a small model of the periodic table that shows you that, but we're not in my classroom, so I can't show you. You can look it up online. You can see what it looks like if the lanthanide and actinide series were not at the bottom. And there we go. Now we have the color-coded periodic table. All right. So the only thing left to do is for you to show me your periodic table that you've done. Hand off the camera there. And show me a picture of your smiling face and your color-coded periodic table, then click done, and you have done this assignment. If you have any questions, remember guys, email me. Send me a message through Remind. Also, we have some stuff on Flipgrid. I sang a little song for you if you want to check that out. I put some Flipgrid videos on there. I'd like to hear from you and see how you're doing, if that's okay. Another suggestion you can do for your periodic table, I've seen people do it like this, is instead of coloring in the whole periodic table, they simply outline them. For example, if I wanted to do my alkali metals, these are my fine tip Sharpies here. All right, can you see that? So instead of coloring in the whole thing, you can simply outline the element like that. Be careful not to cover up the name of the element. And so you can do it like that. Also make sure you're providing a key. The good time to do the key is when you've got that color in your hand. If I had a ruler, I'd be using it right now to make nice straight lines, but I'm not. I'm living dangerously now. But anyway, I could do it like that. And then I go like that. And then I go like that. That's another way to do it. Okay? So, welcome to my dining room here, and this is my little workstation here. And there's Gus. He didn't help much, did he? Gus, you didn't do anything. What? What? Anyway, so I miss you guys, and hopefully we'll get together before the school year's over. Just have to wait this virus out. Anyway. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed coloring with me. Let me know how it went.